Today we're going to talk about how to change the slide orientation in Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, let's jump in here today. We have a slide in our presentation. As a default, Microsoft PowerPoint defaults to be in the landscape position for a slide. So if you wanted to change it to a different orientation to, let's say you want to go to a portrait, what you would do is you come into Design, come over to Slide Size, go to Custom Size, Slide Size, and then in the orientation here on the right hand side, you can actually change this to Portrait. Now, when you change your slide orientation, it will change it for your whole presentation that you have set up within this presentation that you're working on. Microsoft only allows you to have either portrait or landscape in a presentation that is saved in a document, in PowerPoint document. Now, we will get into how we can do a presentation with both here in a second. But for right now, I want to change this to a portrait. So I click OK, and I'm going to ensure fit. Now, your slide has went to a portrait position. I can actually readjust my object. In this case, is a picture that I want to present on this particular slide. Okay, so now that is how you would change your orientation, a slide orientation from a landscape to a portrait. So let's say you have a presentation that you would like to show both a landscape and a portrait in the same presentation. Now, Microsoft, like I said earlier, does not offer that in the same presentation, but they do offer a workaround that basically you end up creating two presentations, one in a landscape design and another one in a portrait design. So you would basically create all your portrait slides in one document or in one presentation, and all your landscapes in another. And when you save them, make sure that you save them into the same document folder to make it easier to work back, to flow back and forth when you do a presentation. So I'm going to flip over to my landscape documents now, or my landscape slides. And what I would like to do as do a presentation here, I would like to put between my slide 1 and 2, I would like to put my portrait slide in. To do that, what we would do is select an object on the slide, go to Insert, go to Link. Then in this case, I'm going to link. My next slide is going to be a portrait slide, so I'm going to go to Portrait, or whatever the name of the document that you have the slides in for your portrait slides. And I'm going to go to Bookmark. In this case, I only have one portrait slide. So in this case, I'm just going to go to number 1. If you have multiple ones, they would be listed here, and you would select the one that you want to go to next. So I'm going to click OK, and I click OK again. So that now will point to my next slide to be portrait. So now I need to go over to my portrait side of my presentation. So when I click on that picture, we come to this picture. And for me, I want to send this back to my second slide in my landscape. So basically, I'm just going to repeat the process. I'm going to select the picture, go to Insert, go to Link. In this case, I'm going back to my landscape slides. And I'm going to go to bookmark, and I want to come in at the second slide. So I'm going to say OK and click OK one more time. So that now sets it up that I can go from one presentation to the other. So I'm going to go back to my landscape slide, since that's the first slide I'm going to be using to start my presentation. Now I can go up and I'm going to start my presentation. I click my presentation. I click the start the show. I now have my landscape slide here, my number 1. If I click the picture, I now go to my portrait slide, and then I can click the picture on that, and it takes me back to my landscape slides to finish up the show. And now that's the end of my show. So that is the way to do a workaround if you want to show a landscape slide and a portrait slide in your presentation.